Greetings, everybody! This is Serpentine451, and welcome back to another episode of Weeb Warriors. I didn't record this episode yesterday simply because, well, technical issues with Discord caused a bit of a kerfuffle. Jordan would have been joining us for this week, but the kerfuffle with Discord happened yesterday and he had business today, so he won't be here for this week. So, let's actually get to the reviews for this week here, starting with the shows I'm covering. First things first, I decided for myself that I'm not going to be covering Pet anymore, and I'm just going to do what I'm doing with Join the Pack Seiton Academy and just reviewing it on its own, and just do my own thoughts and opinions on it, regardless of what's going on here on Weeb Warriors. Plus, we have a show in mind that kind of leads to taking over Pet's place, so to speak, and interspecies reviewers' place, since that will not be reviewed on here anymore either. That's an unfortunate case, but what I can say is Nekopara episode 4 is going to be reviewed here. It'll be the only thing that I'm reviewing that I'm going to be reviewing here, called The First Time. So, essentially what happened in this episode is that we get more time with the cat girls, mostly their measurements and whatnot, for the sake of this episode, which is the whole crux of this episode, and the fact that our new cat girl is no longer going to be named Mint, but Kako, which is a name after a cake that he ultimately, well, he being Kasho, or Master Nut, gives, because since chocolate and vanilla have to run the shop, so to speak, with him baking cakes, and Kako is essentially just bored and wants to be with chocolate. And as a way to kind of appease her after he startled her, Kasho gave her a cacao cake. But then the most of the episode is at the Minaduki house with the cat girls getting measured, weighed, and whatnot. Which we know the bust size of Cinnamon at 92 centimeters. God damn. Those are some cannons. But still, very solid episode, very adorable, very wholesome, with the only lewd thing in there is just the cat girls getting measured and whatnot. And also, apparently, thanks to Reddit, we have a new meme format with Disturbed Chocolate Face, and that's just brilliant to me. So, next up we have the holdover shows with My Hero Academia episode, well, the latest episode with everyone, well, mostly, well, I say everyone, but it's Bakugo, Todoroki, Kami, and Inasa trying to win the hearts of rowdy children. That's basically the entire episode. And this is the Kami that we actually get to meet here, who was taken over, who was ultimately replaced, I should say, by Toga back in a previous season, during the license exam arc and whatnot. And I love the cutbacks to Present Mike, the teacher of the kids, the teacher of the little kids, and one of the Segetsu High students is just very funny to me. And then just their plans on how to win over these kids is just hysterical. Next up after that we have Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, where we learn more about Kiryu and how he is one messed up individual. He wants to blow up the school for the sake of seeing everyone's distressed faces, and that Bao wants to return the demon world into a realm of chaos and insanity, which Gotta admit, that's a pretty bold plan there, mister. But Iruma ultimately stops the machine from exploding everything, and ultimately, Ami Senpai realizes that Iruma is his biggest enemy, because he may have had a life of despair, but he always sees the brighter side of things, which is brilliant, and it kind of puts an end to this very disastrous arc and whatnot. And we think that we see his ultimate motivations. We do see his ultimate motivations for just pretty much blowing up the school, but it's just to see sadness on people's faces. That despair just, he gets off on it. And that's a brilliant thing to do with this character who is pretty much this sickly dude. Well, still, I enjoyed this episode regardless. And now, let's get to the shows that are this season. So we have Plunderer, episode... Oh, I forgot the order. What was the order again? Oh, anyway. We have Bufuri, episode 4. Defense and the second event. This episode where we get to have the second event and why we have these badass chicks doing awesome things. Like Maple using a speed move called Cover Move to basically defend Sally, who's in trouble. And in their quests during this event to obtain medals, they were able to obtain some, and they had an epic boss fight which threw off the developers so much that they were scared out of their minds. And then we have them, after beating this very difficult boss that broke Devourer, which was amazing to see, in my honest opinion. They beat the boss that was seemingly impossible, and were able to obtain monster eggs, which they have now 2 monster familiars named Syrup the Turtle and Oboro the Fox. And that's just brilliant. And we got to see more interactions with these characters, and then we have a seemingly tough fight ahead with a samurai-looking girl. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be amazing. Now we have Plunderer, episode 4. That being Ballot Holder. We get to see a fairly impressive fight scene between the lieutenant able to summon spikes with his whole motivation to not increasing his rank so he would have a pencil pushing job, which he doesn't want, and Licht. And I like the fact that they made the show a little bit more interesting, and even though it still has its moments of being rather stale, I think with this episode and what it was able to do, and to give everything just this great sense of motivation, and I'd still say that after 4 episodes, it's okay, very serviceable, and you know what? And I'm looking forward to more of this fight scene between Licht and the lieutenant. I'm always looking forward to that, just so this show can prove me wrong. And now let's get to the newest show that I'm adding to the review docket to replace Interspecies Reviewer and Pet, Inspector. So we are following the story of a girl named Kokoto, and she is the goddess of wisdom for all yokai, spirits, specters, and demons. They come to her for help for mysterious happenings. And the first 2 episodes, the first couple episodes or so, all the episodes kind of tying together in some way, shape, or form, with very fun, interesting mysteries. We have the first mystery where we kind of explore her relationship, well, a one-sided relationship with a man named Kuro, who was basically was experimented on by yokai. We're told that one yokai flesh he ate was that of a mermaid, or a ginyo, and the other one is unspecified, at least that I can recall. The other mystery is a murder mystery where a great serpent spirit basically asks Kokoto to figure out what's been going on here, and it's kind of scared him a bit. And the current mystery, after a 2-year time skip, we have the spirit of an idol that was killed by iron beams, basically attacking people. So Kokoto runs into a policewoman who has ties to Kuro. And they're working, well, begrudgingly working together to solve the mystery behind this vengeful spirit. Well, it's viewed as a vengeful spirit, which isn't 100% clear. And that's pretty much it, in all honesty. And now let's actually get to the soapbox discussion, because we have two different sets of controversies here, with Funimation putting the kibosh on interspecies for viewers, and the reveal of the Doctor's name in My Hero Academia that can really put it in dire straits. So, let's start with Funimation canceling interspecies for viewers. Well, in my personal opinion, they should have known the context of how raunchy this show could be, but still they distributed it anyway. And sure, they didn't want to go against the creators' whole point of producing this anime with censors and whatnot. But still, there's that fine line where you want to respect the creators with too many censoring, and that's too much work for you to censor everything as the distributor. But still, it's rather ridiculous to me that you knew what this show was going to be, and yet you still pushed it out there. But regardless, I enjoyed the show for the way it presented itself. I'm okay with it. With the 3 episodes I watched, I am fairly content with that. And then we have the My Hero side of things with manga stuff. We have Dr. Ujiko's real name, basically as a reference to horrible things that happened during World War II. And it could be a real problem with the series going forward, actually in other countries, mostly in China. And after seeing a video about the whole thing, and kind of really thinking about it here as someone who loves history, more ancient history, but some facets of history kind of catch my radar just a wee bit. I mean, a wee bit. I mean, I could see the controversy behind it, and I can see what the creator was initially going for, but yeah, the name change might service some people, but the damage has already been done. But I honestly think it's not going to end the series outright. Sure, it might end things in China, which is a global superpower when it comes to finances, in my honest opinion. Well, whereas a lot of global superpowers when it comes to finances. What I'm saying is that when it comes to entertainment, since China has this big stranglehold on its citizenry, they're really going to crack down on things that may offend everything else. Like the whole connection to an infamous Japanese internment project that experimented on people. Well, I shouldn't say internment project. I should just say experimentations on actual factual human beings. But still, everything else, well, these controversies in general kind of, one's more inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, that being the Funimation pulling interspecies reviewers. It's something that's egg on their faces if they didn't realize anything. And yeah, the only things that these two controversies have in common is basically eggs on faces, on the faces of those who essentially let it happen. And Shueisha and Horikoshi did not really apologize about it, but they're going to be changing the name of Dr. Ujiko's real name. But still, it's going to happen. Things are going to happen. We still don't know for sure if this is going to be a big hit to My Hero. But regardless, all things we can see in the future. But that's going to end it here. Thanks for joining me, guys. This has been Serpentine 451. And I'm saying to you, if there's any controversy that happens, you know I'm going to have my own hot take about it. I may not be the most, let's just say, at times, brilliant sounding individual, but I'm still going to say my own opinion on it. If it's going to be the hottest take known to mankind, it's going to be the hottest take mankind knows. But still, you guys have a nice evening.